welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome to you. Lovely to meet you. My name's Carla and I make videos about day-to-day life. I live in the UK, in Bristol. Obviously, it's as I make this video, it's late April and we are in the middle of lockdown, as is most of the world. And it's given us all something to think about, I think. And so today's video is 5 things that I have learned about myself during the lockdown. If you'd asked me before lockdown whether I knew myself, I would have said, yeah, I think I know myself pretty well. I'm 46 years old. I've lived with me for a long time. I think I know all my good points and all my bad points, and there's plenty of them, believe me. Good bad points, that is, and not so many good points. So yeah, I would have said, yeah, I know myself pretty well. I would have said to you that I was all right with me. You know, I like me. I think I'm a fairly well-rounded human being, and I do my best, and I'm not so bad, really. I've lived with me now at much closer range than I lived with me before. I was diluted a bit by other people, I think, and so I've lived with myself in a more stronger dose than I'm used to, and perhaps I know me a little bit better now. So today's video is 5 things I've learned about myself during lockdown. I hope you enjoy it. Number 1, money. I have discovered during lockdown where all my money goes. If you had asked me before lockdown, where does all your money go? I would have said, oh, well, you know, bills and rent and all living expensive, and it's not cheap living in. That's not where my money goes. Apparently, most of my money goes on eating out, or it did before lockdown. And quite a lot of my money goes on being frittered away in little stop-offs to the shop here, and a scratch card at the parcel shop there, and or, you know, I'll just pop in and get a sandwich, and while I'm there I'll get this and this as well. And I'll just pop into Home Bargains. That's a classic one for me. I just pop into Home Bargains for 1 or 2 things and I'll spend £30. All of those things have gone. Not just for me, obviously they've gone for everyone. And it's made me realise that I burn money like it's just so much scrap paper. I'm not saying that since lockdown began I'm now riddled with wealth, because my income has also dropped. But the fact that my income has dropped considerably, for those of you who don't know, I'm an eBay reseller. That's my full-time job. I don't have another income. And it has changed since lockdown began. People are buying less on eBay. I'm still okay. I'm still okay. But the reason I'm still okay is that my expenditure has dropped accordingly. If my income had dropped the way it has, and my expenditure had remained the same, I would be up Pooh Creek with no boat at the moment, let alone a paddle. So it's made me realise just how wasteful I am with money and how much I fritter away. And I know that all of those memes you see on Facebook and all of those little motivational posts you see on Instagram all say that, you know, stop having a daily coffee and you'll save £14,000 a week. And I would read those and I would think that's okay because I don't drink coffee. So that's not me. I'm not wasting money there. And it's made me realise where I am wasting money and how squandery I am as a person. I'm not going to say was, because at the end of the day, we've only been locked down a few weeks and we might come out of this and I might go back to being the same wasteful person I was before. I hope I don't. I hope I've learned something from this. But it has brought it home to me that the fact that my income has dropped and yet I'm still fine means that my expenditure was ridiculous for what I had coming in. And that's why I always felt that I was skint, that because I was blowing money on absolutely nothing at all. Maybe I'll learn, who knows. Number 2, the second thing that I have learnt about myself during lockdown is, and this isn't an entire surprise, it is how lazy I am. I am shockingly lazy. Now, some people will look at me and say, well, you know, you are a fat person, therefore you must be lazy, because to some people those two things are connected. But I am far more lazy than even I realised. I don't think all fat people are lazy, just let me get that out there. I'm sure for some fat people are just of a sturdy build and they move around just as much as a slimmer person. It's fat and lazy don't necessarily go together. That's not a thing. But for me, it's more of a thing than I realised. I am lazier than I thought I was. I fully believed that the reason I live in a fairly grubby house is because I did not have time to clean it. Turns out that's not why. Turns out it's nothing to do with how much time I've got. I live in a grubby house because I don't want to clean it. I live in a grubby house because although I want it to be clean, don't get me wrong, I want to have a lovely clean house, I don't want it to be me that does it. This has made me think that, going back to part one, if I stop squandering money on other wasteful stuff after lockdown, I can afford to have somebody come and do the cleaning. And then I will have balanced the two things, won't I? I will have saved the money that I was wasting, and I will have used it on something that's more beneficial to me. I don't want to do the cleaning. I don't enjoy it. I don't get any pleasure from it. I get pleasure from seeing it done. Not watching it being done, but from seeing that it has been done. But I don't get any pleasure from doing it. And it's also made me realise, on the same theme of laziness, it's made me realise that I don't work hard enough. I look at some people like, for example, Reselling Polly, who is firing through her listings just as though there is no lockdown happening. Mandy, she's always flipping, who's an absolute work demon. Karen Barnes, who is, you know, despite the fact that at one point she was wondering if she was going to run out of stock completely, still firing through the work. Lex, who is still doing everything she's always done. And me, I've gone, well, there's always tomorrow. And I think that is a lockdown feature for me. The fact that the impetus has been taken away. The idea that I don't have to do anything tomorrow means that I also don't really have to do anything today or the day after. The fact that the things that were in my schedule, like going to visit my mum on a Monday and a Thursday and doing this on this day and doing that on that day, those have all been taken away, has actually made me less productive, because I go, well, it doesn't matter if I don't do any listing on a Sunday because I'll be able to do it Monday instead. And it doesn't really matter if I don't do it Monday because I can always do it Tuesday. Before I know it, it's Friday. I've done nothing all week. And it's going to be the weekend now. Nobody works at weekends, do they? So, number two, laziness. I am recognising that in myself. I am a lazy mare, and I should probably pull my socks up. Number three on my list is, I've entitled it Positive Thinking. Now, so obviously this is 5 things I've learned about myself during lockdown. One of the things I've learned is that I can be quite annoying. And this has come in on a positive thinking point of view. I know in my heart of hearts that it is important to try to remain positive. I did not realise that I was annoying some people by insisting that they should remain positive. So to those people, I'm sorry. It was not my intention to annoy you. It wasn't my intention to force my thoughts upon you in that way. And since that issue was made clear to me, it's made me realise it's not that easy to stay positive. It's not, positive thinking isn't just something you decide to do, although it is really important that we try to do it. If we all allow ourselves to sink into negativity, I don't know where we'll all end up together. We'll all end up in some horrible grey soupy mess. So I think it is, I do still believe 100% that it's important to try to maintain some positivity, but I now realise that it's not that simple. So I've had some very, very down days over the last couple of weeks. I have recognised in myself the issues that have caused those, and accepted that I'm not chirpy, cheap, but I wish I was. I want to be more positive. I want to try and maintain positivity, and I want to try and put positivity out there, but not to the point of being annoying and making people wish I'd shut the hell up. So that's something I've realised about myself, is that I can be relentlessly positive, and that people don't want that. So I'm going to try and stop. Number 4 on my list of things that I have discovered about myself during lockdown is that I'm not as adaptable as I thought I was. I thought I was quite an adaptable person. I thought I was very much go with the flow, and what will be, and oh, this is today, so we'll deal with what's in front of you, and if you have to change it, then you change it. I've discovered that I don't like change when it's forced upon me. I only like change when it's my choice. So I don't like not being able to get the brand of loo rolls that I always get. Now, really, loo rolls are loo rolls, and I should be extremely grateful if I can get any at all, really. I should be just glad that I've got loo rolls. But I'm finding I'm irritated by not being able to get my usual brand, and that I'm not adapting. That's just an example. I'm not adapting well to the changes that are being forced upon me. And I'm trying to deal with it. I'm trying to be adaptable, but I'm just not doing it very well. And it's not as easy as I thought it was. I am very resistant to change. I've known that for a while, in fairness. That has happened in previous jobs. That has been something that's been raised, that I'm resistant to change. I'm resistant to new innovations. I like things to be the way they are. I like things to be comfortable and simple, and this is how I know how to do it. And so we'll carry on doing it this way. But I didn't realise that I was resistant to other types of change as well, that I would be so annoyed by the little things that we're so used to not being normal anymore. So that's something that's I probably haven't explained myself very well on that one, but it's probably something I'm still chewing over in my head. Okay, the fifth one, in an almost comical way, I've discovered, and I think I've touched on this in the early ones, I've discovered that I'm not quite as fond of me as I thought I was. So this is something I said at the beginning, isn't it? If you know, those every now and again on Facebook there'll be one of those little pictures, and it'll be a cabin in the woods, and it'll have some cozy fairy lights, so it doesn't look like an axe murderer is going to leap out at you from behind a tree. It'll have some cozy fairy lights and a little log fire and some nice floral curtains or whatever, and the picture underneath will be, could you live here on your own for a month with no TV or something and no internet? And I looked at that and I was like, of course I could. I've always been, yeah, of course I could. As long as I've got books and my dog, I'll be fine. I don't need other people. I don't need TV. I don't need social interaction. I'm fine as I am. I like myself enough to spend as much time with me as... I don't like myself as much as I thought I did. I am experiencing, for the first time in my life, enforced separation from my friends rather than voluntary separation from my friends. So I'm very lucky in that I have some lovely friends who have accepted over time that I'm useless at being the one who calls them. I'm always glad to see them. I'm always glad to see my friends, and if one of them rings me and says, shall we do lunch, or I'm always delighted, and that's a brilliant plan. But it never, or very, very rarely, occurs to me to make first contact. And it's not that I don't value my friends, it's just that I tend to work from home, and I tend to bumble along in my own sweet way, and I always assume that everybody else is busy. I tend to think, oh, well, I work from home and they know I work from home, so they know I'm available if they want me, so they must be busy, and they'll shout when they're not. And that's not in a resentful way. I don't mean that in a kind of, oh, they're too busy for me. Just that, oh, they're busy, and so when they're not busy, they'll let me know. And that's not the case in some cases. They're thinking, Carla obviously doesn't want to see me because she hasn't bothered ringing me in 6 weeks or whatever. That's not true. It's not that I don't want to see my friends at all. It's just that I don't see it the right way round, perhaps. When I get out of this, when we all get out of this, I am going to make sure my friends know how much I value them, because I am really missing you guys. I'm incredibly lucky that I've got some fantastic online friends. Some of those friends are real life, obviously real life people, but I mean, some of those friends are people I'm able to see in real life as well normally. People like Lex, Josh, Caroline, people who live reasonably close, and I'm able to get together with them and see them. But they are still people that I met online, so I think of them as it was with being within my online friends category. And I've been very lucky that I've been able to maintain exactly or almost the same level of contact with those friends that I've always had. Is that in that we talk, we have WhatsApp groups, and we have Messenger groups, and we talk daily. And you guys have probably kept me sane, because if I'd had to be just here with just me, I think the dogs would have killed me by now, because I would have annoyed them so much. So, yeah, so just the knowledge that I'm not an island. No man is an island, and no woman either. And whenever I've read that in the past, I've gone, no man is not. I could be an island. I could be an island. I don't need people. Turns out you do. You do need people to help keep you relatively normal. I'm not sure I'm completely normal, but the people that, and you know who you are, the people that have helped me recently when I've struggled with lockdown have helped me remain relatively normal. I don't know whether this has been a cheerful, positive, uplifting video, or whether it's been miserable and I've made everybody go, oh dear, I wish I hadn't watched that. I'm sorry if it has been that. It's not my intention to be that way. But I think it's interesting that and I think it's interesting to me, it might have been interesting to you, that I'm analysing myself and not necessarily coming up with what I would have come up with before lockdown. I think if I'd analysed myself before lockdown, I'd have come up with very different results. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you're a subscriber. If you're not and you'd like to see possibly more of this or possibly some different stuff, because I do all sorts of things, then do hit the subscribe button and click the notifications bell so that you get told when I upload. Anything you'd like to say, pop it in the comments down below. I'm always delighted to read your comments, and I try to respond where applicable. And I always make sure that you know I've read your comments. And yeah, I think that's it. Isn't it? Like, comment, subscribe. I've said them all, haven't I? Thank you for watching, and I will be back soon with something else. Take care. Bye bye.